but he's the guy from Depeche Mode on this week's episode of Cartoon Buffoons. I'm Wyatt, and who is here with me today, as always?
Hello, I'm Morgan, and I'm what happens when a Green Lantern ship has a really sexy AI.
Ooh, we're going to be talking about that show at some point. And who is here as our special guest for today's episode?
Hello, my name is Jeff Stormer, and much like Shore Levi, or much like the Pirate Captain, I am also a deep fan of Degrassi: The Next Generation.
Hell fucking yeah, me too.
And we're here to kick off our month of Adult Swim talk. We already did a standalone, like, just Adult Swim episode back at, I think it was in, like, December.
Yeah.
But we're coming back. We're doing some specific Adult Swim shows because we gotta. And we're starting it off with Venture Bros. I'll just say it. One of my favorite cartoons ever. I think Morgan, very much the same with you. Jeff, you're
maybe my favorite thing ever.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you feel about Venture Bros, your history with it, and your history with Cartoon Network and Adult Swim as well. Not in that order. Whatever order you feel makes a more compelling story.
Yeah, Jeff, whatever you feel. Yeah.
I mean, not to age myself, but like I remember sitting on a couch one day in maybe I think 2001, and receiving word that there was going to be a new and exciting block of television on Cartoon Network, and sitting there live for the first time, that before the black and white text popped up, when it was all pool graphics, when it popped up with that weird little Aquaman dance routine. Do not quote to me the ways of the old magic, for I was there when it was written. So I have been watching Adult Swim since its inception.
You've been watching it since September 2nd, 2001.
That's right. A time when everything was good and we assumed everything would just be good forever. When we were like, the next 10 days are going to be so chill.
Yeah.
And so, like, I had already watched a fair amount of Adult Swim. I remember watching I remember watching the pilot of the Venture Brothers when it first aired. And the Venture Brothers is my favorite television show, bar none, no exceptions. It comes with many asterisks on account of the first two seasons of the Venture Brothers exist, but it is without fail, without question, my favorite show of all time. I think I've probably watched it more than any other TV show. I think about it more than any other TV show. I have more feelings about it than any other TV show, which is to say I'm pretty normal about it, I think.
Yeah. That seems normal. That is good that we got you on for this episode, because you have such a passion for the show.
Yeah, I like when we like threw this idea out like a little bit months ago. I was like, wait, I know exactly who we have to have on for a Venture Bros episode, like right away. Like, there's only one other person I could feel in like the ether of not normal about this show. I know who to call.
I know several people on account of this is Jeff Deeplore. I recorded 4 seasons of a Venture Brothers rewatch podcast that never made it to air for various reasons, and so I have been deep in the Venture Brothers weeds for many. The number of times I have had the Venture Brothers fan experience of going, oh, I thought they canceled that 2 years ago. All right, great. 8 more episodes. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, that was literally for years and years, to the point where when it was canceled in like 2020, I was like, well, we had a good run, can't be too upset about this, even though
it felt like a car that stalls constantly and it just keeps going, and then it dies. You go, you're gonna die eventually. I knew you were coming.
And the season 7 did end on like on a cliffhanger of sorts, but season 7 in general, we'll talk about the show more generally, or season by season, whatever, but that was a very good season, especially the beginning episodes of it. So I wasn't like disappointed that we were going off on that. But I'm also very glad that we ended up getting a movie that didn't necessarily like wrap everything up in a neat bow, but gave us like one more glimpse into this world, and kind of like resolved some of the immediate cliffhangers of the season 7 finale.
Yeah.
How about you, Morgan? What's your history with Venture Bros?
So I also remember the like no running at the pool, like old Adult Swim things. And I was younger though. I was definitely not supposed to be watching that shit.
Yeah.
But I remember
when that was on.
I remember Venture Bros. I kind of missed the first 2 seasons in a way. I didn't like really watch them.
Oh, really?
But I vividly remember catching out of context the wedding episode.
Ooh,
Oh, sure.
good one.
Season 2 finale showdown at Cremation Creek.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, this seems neat. And then like Comcast was finally getting adult like on demand going.
Yeah.
So I went back and rewatched it, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. Then I hit high school, and I was like, oh wait, no, this actually is what I'm about. I love He-Man, and I love old Johnny Quest stuff. I love Degrassi. It was one of those things where we talk about a lot on Buffoons about like how creators like take things that they enjoy and put it into other works, and it's not always things of the same genre, and I think that's what makes it neat.
Yeah.
I love it when someone makes a rap album inspired by like classic rock, that kind of shit. And
Yeah.
it felt like Venture Bros was like in my brain, like Jackson Public and Doc Hammer were like here behind me, like, oh, we're also watching this. Here's a random Manny Santos reference, and I go, what the fuck is happening? Are they in the room with me? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, and then like I felt such a big connection to it. Yeah, what are you gonna say, Wyatt?
I was just gonna say that like this is one of the nerdiest shows ever made.
Ever.
Like the
Yeah.
I can't like the only other show, also a Titmouse show, that I would even consider in the same argument would be Megas XLR, something that we already did. And it's just like, what were they fucking cooking over there? What's going on in like New York based animation scene where everybody is like a complete freak nerd? Because
But like I remember.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I was gonna just say I remember like this was one of, like I knew about Craig McCracken and those other creators because like I like cartoons, but this was like the first show I was like, oh, I want to see like the process. I remember getting like the DVDs. Like the first DVD I ever bought of a show was Venture Bros season 2 on DVD, and I remember seeing like the behind the scenes because I wanted to see how the fuck did it go about it. And funny enough, like Mad Men, finding out that sometimes those two would just hang out in a room with other shit happening, painting or playing video games, and go, that seems good. We should take a note on that to take to the writer's room. I'm like, yeah, that sure does make sense. That's how they're doing this fucking
that feels
show.
right.
Like,
That feels right. The fact that
Yeah, they feel
for me, it's the fact that
go
they
ahead.
that they said in commentary that like they would go back and rewatch the entire series every time they needed to sit down and write a new crop of episodes. So they would specifically so they could go back and go like, oh, we said this weird world detail. Let's really like lean into that, or oh, that's funny. That was a joke. Let's make that a really important lore point. Like it shows, like, I think it is, you can see it in the finished show, the level of like them going back, spotting something that they would have forgotten from 3 seasons ago, and the way that translates into this show's weird, obsessively well-kept continuity.
Yeah. Because this show is so good at both like completely stringing you along. There are certain episodes where it's like, oh, this is going to be the most important thing, and it's not important at all. But in the totality of it, by the time that you get to the end, you're like, holy shit, how did they make something this elaborate? And then you realize it's exactly that, what you just said, that they just have such an attention to detail of their own creation, like that they are so aware of it and they go back and watch it and everything. That doesn't mean that they've planned any of this stuff out. You know, maybe a few things they like planned ahead for, but they're just like, oh man, let's go and do this now. To me, as a you know, just as somebody who is a creative and an artist as well, but also a podcaster, who likes to talk with my friend Morgan here. The dynamic that they have, I've always like maybe not envied, but I've always like appreciated it from afar or whatever. And I think, especially like when the show was canceled, I believe this is around the time when the movie came out. They were doing an interview talking about it and saying like, yeah, we don't care if this is the end. We just want to make more Venture Bros forever. Like they just want to keep making it. They're not. They say like, yeah, we didn't give it like a perfect ending because in our mind there is no perfect ending for the show. We just want to keep making the show because we just have so many ideas. And the fact that even after the show is canceled or when they're not working on it, they're just constantly talking to each other about it and like making jokes about this show and, you know, pretending to be the characters and things like that. That's love. That's a true deep love for your creation, and I respect the hell out of that.
Because like there comes a time when you create something where like it's so embedded in you that like saying you created it for yourself isn't even true anymore. It is just a part of who you are. It's just a part of who you are, and you're constantly thinking about it like, oh, this is for no one, but it's for me. And I think that's like so freeing. What were you gonna say, Jeff?
Oh, I was gonna say like I appreciate the love that they have for the show, the relationship they have to one another. It's very evident, not just in the fact that approximately 40% of the characters on the show are specific two-guy duos that were written so that they could just riff off of each other on mic and on screen.
Yeah. Yeah, all there's so many like, oh, this guy is just Jackson Public and this guy is Doc Hammer, you know. And sometimes the dynamics shift, like you have Monarch and Dr. Girlfriend being that, but then you have 21 and 24 being that, and then when 24 dies, you have Monarch and 21 doing 21, that. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. There's so many different variations. Of course, like you have Billy Quizboy and. What's his name?
White.
Pete White?
Yeah, Pete White. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's just...
See, this is why I should have rewatched the show before, getting
college.
I meant to ask,
famous college DJ, Pete White.
Yeah.
I have this in my notes because I want to ask this. Do you guys have like a favorite, like Jackson Public Doc Hammer duo that's like just them talking to each other? Because I was thinking about this. I was like really letting this sink. I think it's watching Ward
cooks in a way that it's hard to really like. Watching Ward cooks on a whole other level.
They're doing the dumbest voices you've ever heard. Like they're just like both in a little room. Like, oh my god,
did you drink my Capri Sun?
Yeah.
I love whenever you go to like that. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, if you finish.
No, I do love like the thing that make watching Ward work is that they almost never interact with any, like all the other pairs will interact with other characters. Watching Ward truly are always just in that room.
They're in the room by themselves.
And I love whenever
it's great.
Yeah, exactly. And like whenever you get a peek of what other people think of, like I love when Sheila when they're like this, don't drink anything. They piss in all these bottles. I hate them. And I'm just like, fuck, that's so good.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say Wyatt?
I was gonna say Billy Quizboy and Pete White are probably my favorite.
I really think it's 20. I mean, I think it's the basic answer for me is 21 and 24. Like the dynamic is so perfect. It just like every moment that those two characters spent together, up and including when he's a ghost haunting him.
Yeah.
Funny every single interaction has at least one gem.
Yeah, and that's like, it is very interesting because by the end of the series, I am completely on board with like, all right, Gary's moved on, he's just friends with the Monarch now and is no longer obsessing about this guy that he had like a, kind of a personal relationship with, but more of a shallow relationship with. But that being said, like, you really can't beat, especially like, season 2. I would say by the end of season 1 and then into season 2 is really when they start to like take shape. Because I think it was the yard sale episode that really like brought those characters into the forefront, and that's like one of my favorite episodes for sure. in the show. It's definitely my favorite season 1 episode, and it's what I quoted at the beginning of this episode. I remember. I should just say real quick that I remember, the pilot and everything coming out for Venture Bros, which I remember seeing the pilot and then seeing the finished show and being like, wow, the finished show looks way better than the pilot. I didn't understand that one was made in Flash. I didn't have the textual knowledge to understand that, but I was just able to be like, oh, the finished show looks so much better. And then now if I go back and watch season 1, I'm like, this kind of looks like crap compared to like how good it will look later on.
And continue to look too, which is weird.
It continued the continual improvement, and like by season 7, the way that things look just straight up like movie quality is absurd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Season 7 and the actual movie don't look that much different from each other. Whereas like you look at Metalocalypse, and season 4 looks pretty good of Metalocalypse, but it's still Metalocalypse. It's still like a pretty simplistic looking show and everything. And then but the movie that came out at the same time or around the same time as this Venture Bros movie, looks so much better than it, because they just had more time and it's one consistent story for 90 minutes. So
I did want to say one of the things that makes Venture Bros works, besides just the comedy and also the way not even referential, because I feel like saying Venture Bros is referential is true but also feels untrue sometimes.
Yeah,
it feels more so like things exist. Yeah, it feels like things exist and the characters talk about things. It's not a reference when you and your friend talk about an episode of Game of Thrones or something. That's just something that's happening. And that's what it feels like in Venture Bros. But besides those things, I think this show does such a good job of making you aware of where characters stand with each other and what their friendship or dislike of each other are. And I think that's an underrated thing in a cartoon where if you think about two Venture Bros characters who have never interacted, it's almost a little weird because it feels like everyone gets at least a little one moment of hanging out. I think one of my favorite examples of what do these characters think of each other is whenever you get stuff like Orpheus and Brock or something. I'm oh wait, there is a weird pseudo friendship going on, even though Brock is a bit confused about what Orpheus has going on.
Yeah.
it's such a cool way to write characters, and I love the different groups and units. There's just so many cool things happen. It feels like a superhero comic by way of comedy, which it is what it's going for. You could always think of what does Wolverine think of the Human Torch and yada yada yada, but you do that for a show where it's bits, and I think that's fucking cool.
Can I tell you my favorite establishing where two characters stand, even though they very rarely are in a place to interact? It's a very specific moment that I quote to my wife all the fucking time, and it's I thought you were gonna hit me with a lock and load. Oh, the night is still young! Fucking Phantom Limb and Brock being yeah, we both get it. We both like the pageantry of the thing that we're here to, we will kill each other if we end on the opposite sides of this war, but we both recognize there is a pageantry to this, and there is an absurdity to this, and we both kind of love it for that, and that's why we've hung around for as long as we have. That is, I quote those two riffing at each other about lock and load so often.
Yeah.
I think truly that the episode where they meet is it's one of the funniest episodes of just Brock the boys are in danger, I gotta go, Brock, if you leave me you're fired, and just Brock's naked in the place like this, with naked, and he just goes to the stall with Phantom Limb and holds a knife to his neck, butt ass naked, holding him so tenderly. And I'm they're oh, this is funny as shit. We have to have these two do a little bit more things together.
I mean, and then it extends to Brock in the Trial of the Monarch when he's explaining that the Guild of Calamitous Intent, it's the only organization left that I really truly respect.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, the different character combinations and different those dynamics and everything. Like, it's just dynamics all the way down, I feel like, with this show. There's just there's so many characters, there's so many different like windows into the world, and I feel like not enough credit is given to like just like the main hero cast, like the protagonists of like Rusty and Hank and Dean, and then Brock as well. A lot of people, if they talk about how funny the show is, they'll talk about the Monarch or 21 and 24. But I definitely, on my most recent watch through of the show, grew to really love the actual Venture Bros themselves.
Me and Kathy talked about this, but like, I think Sleeper Hit, Hank might be the funniest character ever written.
Yeah.
I think I could like maybe say that, because Hank is like the perfect level of like a cartoon character, but also like a real 20-year-old for so much of the show. It's so good. Like whenever I think of Venture Bros quotes, I'm probably quoting Hank, because I just think like, I keep putting my tongue in the slit. Just stop it. I can't. It's maddening. Like, it's just such a good bit. Like, he's so funny. And like, I love whenever he gets in trouble and he wants to be like Brock so bad, and he's not even particularly bad at it. He's just so and I think it's great because you have him like play off of Dean, because you watch the show early on and you go, wait, there's no straight man here, they're both cartoon characters, but Dean very quickly goes, I kind of just want to be a normal person. And Hank's like, that's fucking lame, why would anyone want to be a normal person? And they have such a good brother relationship, and I think that's why it's great that the movie hinges so much on them coming back together, like to end the show off.
It's weird that Mike Sinter-Nicholas is like an anime guy now, like just because I associate him so much with Dean, and that's not to say there's anything wrong with doing anime voice acting or whatever, but it's just like weird to be like, oh, he was like the voice director on like Weathering with You and like Your Name and stuff like that. Like he was
he's
Taki
like all over stuff
in Your Name, actually, just clicking on it. So it's just like very weird for me, just because, like I said, I really do associate him with Dean, and he's one of the few like non Doc Hammer and Jackson Public characters, because they really do voice most of the characters in the show.
There's many scenes that's just like Doc Hammer, Jackson Public, and Patrick Warburton and him in a scene. And there's like 9 characters in the scene, but that's still just, they're the only 2 people who are not them in it. And it's really funny. Of course,
James Urbaniak as Rusty, who is my personal favorite character. If you gun to my head had to ask me.
Maybe the greatest voice actor of all time.
Yeah.
I think Rusty's performance consistently is maybe the best in the show. I know it's the one everyone talks about. Like, they talk about it, and like I remember behind the scenes talk about it's funny. Hey boy, my Daisy with his razor is the funniest shit I've ever heard. It's so good.
Yeah, and I don't really see him in too much, like doing too many like voiceover roles. I mean, usually he does, just like character roles in shows and things like that, but off the top of my head, I really can't think of many other like a cartoon after this, besides OKKO, where he does the robot barber. I can't remember his name, Mr. Logic. That's it. And that was like clearly a shout out to Venture Bros in the sense that Ian worked on Venture Bros before and was like, we should get James Urbaniak. Let's get him on and do this character. But yeah, I love him. He's just, first of all, great name. Really gotta love the name James Urbaniak. That's just like very fun to say. And then like
name.
Second, like Rusty's such a piece of shit that the entire time you're like learning about him and also learning about the Monarch, you start to come to the realization that the Monarch is the better person than Rusty. He has like a it goes through some rough patches, but he ends up having a healthy marriage and relationship with Dr. Girlfriend, and like he ends up like growing and changing as a person as the show goes on, especially like the Blue Morpho stuff in season 6 into season 7.
What a great bit! Oh my god,
Yeah.
the Blue Morpho stuff was so funny.
Yeah, that's
But yeah,
like probably like if the show had just ended there, I would have been like, okay, this is good. You know, one of the greatest shows of all time, etc.
I guess we should get like. I guess Jeff, I'll ask you, Jeff. Who is your like favorite character? Not from the main four, like not out of like Doc, Brock, Hank, and Dean. Who's your like favorite characters?
I mean, like I have such a deep emotional attachment to Gary 2-Ton 21, but also but also Billy Quizboy. Eat the pennies, Quizboy. Quizboy, eat the
pennies,
just
Quizboy.
eat, Billy, just eat the pennies. Just eat the pennies. I adore Billy Quizboy a lot. I love Monarch and Sheila, Dr. Mrs. the Monarch are characters that I like very. But also I gotta it's amazing to me that they introduce one of my favorite characters like 8 episodes before the series is done, because Red Death is a comedic character unlike anything I've ever like. Red Death as the exactly like what you were saying, of the embodiment of like having like the model for the monarch of having like a healthy home life and being able to be like,
yes,
I separate, like I turn this shit off. This is a job. And being like Clancy Brown at his absolute scariest, and then going like, I'm just watching my girl. Like, this is my girl. I'm having fun. Like, he comes back and it's
Red Death.
I made brownies in the fridge. Oh, I'm gonna grab one.
Also, Red Death has like a fantastic joke in the movie of just like, yes, this is my steed, Daisy. Why you name it Daisy? Well, I let my daughter name her. So I just love him. Just like he's just like, yeah, hey, first things first, I'm a girl dad.
It's
and
so
I think that's my
funny.
important feature. It's so
funny. And Clancy Brown, like a true goat of the voice acting game. Like it's. I think it's ultimately probably either 21 or Sheila are my two like go-tos, because those are the characters that like I think about most frequently. But I think 21 is my guy. 21's journey through him realizing, hey, I think I actually hate this, and then realizing, hey, I think I actually hate this, but I love these two specific people enough to like be okay with who I'm going to be in this life is an incredible journey.
The funkiest little polycule in history. It's so funny. I love it's so good. Like, Wyatt, what about you? Who's your tops?
See, this is hard because, you know, there's so many good choices, and I could just easily go with the Monarch because he's just such a good parallel to Rusty, and, you know, the movie and everything sort of like ties them together. Well, the finale of season 7, but the movie like kind of takes that and runs with it. And there's like a couple characters that I really appreciate, but I'm not sure if I would say like, oh, they're my favorite character. Like Phantom Limb was one I remember as a kid thinking that he's really cool because of the season 2 finale. And being like, oh man, this show's getting like serious now. Little did I know that would rarely happen. You know, the show does have a keen eye towards like continuity and building its world, but it's very rare that you have like, because you get like, oh, the season 4 finale is kind of like a big pop off. You know, between season 5 and 6 with the Gargantua 2 like special thing, like that is a great episode, and then like the Blue Morpho stuff and then the movie are kind of the only times that it gets like very like serialized big epic showdown kind of levels, but that happens so rarely. And also the Phantom Limb definitely like lost some of his glamour, you know, after the season 2 finale. You know, that's the whole thing, is that he became sort of a guy in like the garbage, rooting through the garbage, and
I think it works really well though for him.
Oh, for sure. Like I don't think that depletes his menace when he showed up like as like being built up as a villain in season 1, and then by the end of season 2, like that is still very well done. But if you had to pick one of my favorite groups of people is the Order of the Triad. And I think
Orpheus. Orpheus is a character of all time.
Yeah.
Truly, the character of all time.
I would say, like, Orpheus is, like, number one out of all of those, but Jefferson Twilight and The Alchemist as well are just so fucking funny. Dana Snyder doing The Alchemist, just, like, one of my favorite roles that, you know, he's ever done.
This never happened before, I promise. Just
Yeah.
Dana Snyder's so fun. I also think like Jefferson Twilight is like, I'm so glad they're like, no, he's really funny. Let's keep bringing him back.
Yeah.
Because Charles Purnell is also doing a fantastic performance as Jefferson Twilight because he's doing a voice that's supposed to remind you of the blaxploitation era without doing like an overly cartoony version of it. Yeah. And I think it works so well. Like I do, like what I'm just like, yeah, I fight Blackulas. What's that? Black vampires. I can't be more specific if I tried. Like, yeah, we can fight them, Orpheus, but I get to keep the teeth. Every time he says something just so nonchalantly about his job, I'm like,
yeah.
Fuck, he's so funny.
The movie, that's one of the moments where you can feel that the movie was clearly supposed to be a season of TV that they condensed down, and it breaks my heart because if I could see a full episode of any single thing in the series, it's Jefferson Twilight. It's Jefferson Twilight hunting New Jack City vampires, and B,
I can't.
It's Jefferson Twilight hanging out in a shitty co-op loft with Darkman and a bunch of other 90s horror characters.
Yeah. And like a shitty Punisher with like a whole skeleton strapped to his chest. The thing that gets me about the New Jack vampires that he fights is that canonically he references, they're dressed like the characters from New Jack City. That's so much funnier than them being the characters.
Yeah.
Something about we got turned into vampires like this. Oh, but you know what movie's really good? New Jack City's really fucking good. And they just decide to dress like it.
It's fully
so
just
funny.
They were watching New Jack. You could tell they were just watching New Jack City and were like,
yes!
It's funny if we just make these guys Blackulas.
Yeah.
Vampire. It's so good. It's so amazing. I love the fucking Jeff Goldblum fly guy that's like, hey guys, I'm teleporting. Oh, we have roaches, and he holds up his roach arm. I'm like, God damn it. It's so good.
Orpheus. Yeah, Orpheus. Steve Rattazzi, amazing voice actor. I mean, we keep saying that with all the voice actors, but like, my God, the performance that he puts out as Orpheus is just to the point where, like, I remember being very disappointed when I saw the actual Doctor Strange, or maybe not the actual Doctor Strange, with the Marvel version of it, the MCU version of it. I was like, this is nothing like Orpheus. Why isn't he?
He should be a weird He should be a weird fucking guy. Like, the central joke that all of these characters exist in some variants of the real world, and then Dr. Orpheus is just straight up like a cartoon of a wizard. But then you find out that it's not like the fantasy world. Like it's a dual joke is what it is. There's the joke that amidst all of these characters that exist in some semblance of the real world, there is this cartoon wizard that talks like a cartoon wizard. And then there's the second joke, and like the way that that's their introduction of like magic exists in this world is this fucking cartoon wizard. And then the second joke of going, no, all of magic doesn't operate like that. This guy's just a fucking nerd.
It's just him.
This guy's just fucking weird.
When we meet like his master, who's John H. Benjamin, it's so funny. Like this, like, hey Orpheus, what's up? Yeah, I just turned to a Cerberus today. I'm just hanging out. And I'm like, oh, so Orpheus is just a weirdo. I'm
Catherine the Great's horse. So I'm here to teach you about biting off more than you can chew.
You can chew. It's like, I'm like, that's like, oh, that's such a good call to do. It's just like, yeah, Orpheus is just a little weird. Because we also, like, even the other Order of the Triad members, they're pretty chill. He's just like, no. He's my favorite Orpheus performance and joke is like this. I can feel his spirit. He's calling you he's calling me a crumb bum. Yes, a crumb bum. It's such. Like,
Yeah, he's just like basically everything that you both said. Just like he's just a weird guy that absolutely both totally fits in this world. He kind of like sets the tone of how ridiculous this world can be, but then also, you know, like is completely out of step with the more like there's a lot of G.I. Joe influence and a lot of like Marvel Comics influence and everything in it, and like he has a little bit of that Doctor Strange in him, but like I said, like learning that the actual Doctor Strange is just like Benedict Cumberbatch, I'm like, okay, well, this is kind of lame, you know. And then I wanted him to be more like Orpheus, and you know, his daughter ends up being like an important character in that. Dean, you know, gets a crush on her and everything, and that's, I think, you know, if there's one unifying criticism that can be given to Venture Bros, it's that the female characters are it's a very male show. You know, it's like, that's the best way to put it. It's a very male dominated show. Female characters are kind of just like very secondary, and usually don't get very like prominent roles to any significant degree, with Dr. Girlfriend being like a notable exception.
One of my like favorite like, so my favorite character is Sheila. I think Sheila's like growth and also change is so, it goes from like, haha, this is like the competent woman with a shitty supervillain, to like, no, he's a trophy husband now. Like we get to the end of the show, like he's a trophy husband. Like she loves the monarch, and that's why he's still around. But I think like the thing that makes the Venture Bros work even more so than just like the constant continuity and all this stuff is that the show is so good at, on a dime, going, maybe this character shouldn't just be their bit in a way that is so fucking good. I think she's like the premier example. Like there's like issues. The show, look, season 1 and 2 happened. We can just be honest about it. They
happened.
You know?
They were an Adult Swim show circa 2005 to 2006.
Exactly.
The sense of humor for a lot of those episodes is rooted in things that were popular circa 2005, 2006. And that's unfortunate. And you see the creators acknowledge over time, like, hey, we fucked up. You know what? That's on us. We fucked up.
No. Like, Sheila is such a transphobic joke in the beginning. But also, like, as a trans woman and like has a lot of trans women friends, you're not going to meet one who isn't like obsessed and standing Sheila. She's so funny. She's such a full character by the end of it, and like the like her voice is not a joke. It's just her voice when you get to the show, like later in the show, and it just fucking rules. I think like another great example of that is like characters like Jonas, who like is absolutely supposed to be the like joke of like, haha, Rusty has a tumor that's better at this than he is. But then like gets a heartfelt like goodbye in the show. And it's wild.
And like Rusty is a perfect example of that, because like they started off as like this guy is Johnny Quest's dad, and he's a shitty dad, and he's killed the kids multiple times, and he's an asshole. And they go there, and then as the show goes on, they're like, in season 1, it's this guy sucks, he hates his kids, and he's an asshole. And then by the time the movie comes, you're like, this is a child who was abused and ruined by his father and by the complete lack of support structures by the actual, and was like absolutely let down by the single most evil character in a show full of actual homicidal and murderous supervillains, which is Jonas Venture Sr. And like, and he has spent, 10 years trying to like figure out how to be a human being in the world, while also trying to occupy his famous father's shoes, and also trying to reckon with the fact that like he on some level knows that he got horribly abused and he can't really acknowledge it, and he's just like, he's like, I am trying to do as much good as I can do within the fucked up hand. There's that incredible monologue that he gets that I think is a perfect example of like going beyond the joke, where Hank and Dean is it Hank and Dean, or is it Hank and Colonel Hatred, or who? They've kidnapped whoever it is. They've kidnapped Doc, or they've kidnapped Dogman. They've kidnapped Rusty. They've put a bag on his head and they're torturing him. And they finally they ask him they're like, you'll kill Dean, and he's like, you can't hurt Dean, and they're like, we'll kill Hank, and they're like, that's fine. And like it's the joke, and then he goes, no, you don't understand. Like, you can't hurt Hank because Hank will be fine. Hank is like Dean doesn't know anything out, and you understand that like the reason that he's treated Dean the way that he does is because he sees more of himself in Dean, and he's like, oh, and that's bad because I saw how this world that I exist in treated me. Hank, for as bizarre a child as he is, has developed a set of coping skills that will allow him to like navigate the world. And it's a perfect example of like taking that joke character and like taking the joke dynamic that you've established of like Dean is his clear favorite son and putting it, spinning it on its head and going like, but actually what's happening here is that is something that's much deeper and realer.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he's also right. I think the best part about that scene is he's correct.
Yeah.
We see it over and over again. Hank bounces back from shit way easier than Dean does.
There's the scene at the end of the season when Dean is like, hey, turns out we're clones and we've been killed 10 times, and Hank's like, cool.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever. We're immortal, dude. Like, and like it's such a good way to put it, because like it does show like why Hank and Dean are close, because they cover each other's bases, but it does like go, that's why, like you said, like that's why he's so like attached to Dean in that way. I don't, like, it's so cool to like have that, and like no one's saying Rusty's a good dad, right?
He's a bad father.
But he's better than but he's better than his dad, because at least he did one thing that his dad never did, which is set up a real support system for his kids, because he sucks.
Yeah, like he recognizes that he's bad, that he's bad at his job as being a father, and has like been like, okay, how do I at least try to give these kids a shot? What can I do?
Yeah. I think I did want to say, because we talked about like Hank, we talked about Dean, we talked about Rusty. I do think like this show, in like the ballsiest swing possible, was blowing up the Brock, Rusty, Dean, Hank dynamic. I think blowing that up with Brock was such a ballsy and intelligent play, because I think I like Brock 1,000 times more because they did it.
Yeah, me too. I think like season 4, you know, like that whole season where he's off doing the Sphinx stuff is like
Sphinx.
Yeah, it's very good for Brock. You know, like, I love seeing him and his dynamic and everything, but a lot of the jokes can just boil down to being a nanny for Hank and Dean. Let's just say Dane and Hink. I don't know. But yeah, being like a nanny for them, whereas like, yeah, them kind of like separating, especially because that's like a pretty long season. They had to like split it into 2 parts for whatever reason. I know that there is a specific reason for it, but I just can't recall it. And yeah, I feel like he just comes out the other side like a lot more of an interesting character. And in general, I feel like season 3 into 4 is when the show starts to like really coalesce and take its final form. I'd say 5 is probably the weakest overall, but that's just because it's pretty short and doesn't have like a lot of time to develop things. And then, but the thing between seasons 5 and 6 is really good. It's weird because it's not quite a finale, it's not quite a premiere, it's just like a special that aired between season 5 and 6. So it's like hard to give it like, does it count as a season 5 thing or a season 6 thing? But you know, I think that they
also
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think like when at the end of the Brock thing, I loved what like the ripples it had on Dean and Hank also. Hank, like, Dean was already coming into himself in like a lot of ways with his depression, but Hank really came into himself when Brock was gone, and I think that really ruled.
Yeah, for sure.
And I do love the first time they're back together, Brock is killing Dog Hitler.
Yeah,
with a knife, and he's like, "Whoa, like this? I can scratch that off my bucket list." I'm like, goddamn, Brock rules. It's so nice to see a show that like has him like grow old and like change.
I really like and conversely, I also really love that they like used the time that those characters were apart to like re-emphasize the reasons that those relationships existed. Like, like using Brock, finding his own, like doing his stuff with Sphinx and finding his whole like finding his personality outside of that, like, and then going, oh no, but the reason that he's here is because he loves this family, and he's like he is going to come back because he cares too much about these people to like it is again, it goes back to like the original joke is that he doesn't really love anyone here, and he's mainly just here because he likes to kill people, and he's the Swedish murder machine. But like playing it as like, no, he's got like, no, the reason that he didn't take another job when it was offered, the reason that he's done everything in his life to be here is because he loves, even more than Doc, which I think he likes Doc, but he loves Hank and Dean. Like that dynamic is really like using that to go like, this is where it all maps out is really incredible.
It's so good. It's so amazing. I did want to like talk about, because there's a lot of things with Venture Bros that make it work, like the characters and all this stuff. I think also it has maybe the most interesting structure. I think there is room everywhere in the world to take the guild and OSI setup to make everything from video games to tabletop RPGs and in between. Yeah. I think the setup is so good. And it's like the kind of setup you only get if you're like really into like that nerd stuff of like, but like, how would this work? How is Condiment King paying his rent? Yeah. Like, I think like that's the kind of thought process that like made me go, oh yeah, this is a world I'm into. And also it adds mystery to the show, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the things about Venture Bros that always made it really interesting to me is, even though there's like the main plot, there's always this air of mystery of like there's something bigger happening under the surface of the world.
Yeah.
And I think the guild and OSI leans into that in like the best way possible. This also brings me to my very fun fact about Venture Bros, which is that when they had the wedding, they wanted to get the actual David Bowie to be on the show, but he wouldn't do it. And then later on, he was on SpongeBob. Not that far after. And I think that's super fucking funny.
Yeah. And hey, James Urbaniak does a great job.
Pretty solid fucking David Bowie,
Well, there's also the other very funny voice actor trivia is the way I always describe it is that they got Weird Al, Lady Gaga. Do y'all know the story of Weird Al and Lady Gaga? This is a quick 30-second tangent.
I do not. No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Weird Al did a parody of the Lady Gaga song Born This Way called Perform This Way that he was going to put on an album. He reached out to their team and they said, we will only approve, like he specifically famously gets approval of any band before releasing a parody of their songs. He doesn't have to legally, but he insists on doing it because he's a good dude. He reached out, and their management team said, you have to record the song for us to listen to it and send it to us. He records the song, he sends it, and they say, Lady Gaga absolutely will not approve this. Like, she has no interest in this song being released. Like, do not release it. And so he instead released it online for free. And then Lady Gaga heard it and proceeded to, like, make a public statement that was, I have, since I was a little girl, said my sign that I was going to have made it as a famous musician was hearing Weird Al parody one of my songs.
Yeah.
And she was so mad at her management team because she was like, they didn't come to me and ask me. This would have been this was the highest honor I've had in my career. Please put this on your album. The fact that the Venture Brothers had the same thing happen with Stephen Colbert is the funniest fucking thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's the funniest thing in the world to me.
Yeah.
Because they have shout out here. Shout out to 3/4 of their fake Fantastic Four team. One of them I'm not going to give a shout. I simply do not have to hand it to.
Yes, it's not a great joke on that one.
Not one of the jokes doesn't hit. And for as willing as a show as they are to acknowledge that they fucked up, they really stick with that one. They really stick with the ableism on that one joke. But Professor Impossible hits every time. Stephen Colbert, when he's asked, like, what does he say? His delivery of just science. It's like what? It's like what do you think is more important than the life of your child?
Yeah.
Science? It's. I think also the reveal they do later on like the OSI ship that the Fantastic Four comics exist and people read them make it even wilder. I'm like, wait, so was Dr. Impossible, like, was he just like fully like ape? Yes, he was just stealing it. He was just stealing the entire thing. And no one stopped him.
They got Fantastic
Yeah.
Four.
And also finding out that
great, we're the Fantastic Four.
It's like how Johnny Quest is real in Venture Bros. Like, he's just, it's not even like the comic or the cartoon exists. Like, literally the character of Johnny Quest exists in Venture Bros. So,
Action Johnny, like, Brendan Small, fantastic performance. It's so funny. Just like, I don't know, man. Just, oh, fuck him.
Yeah,
just like...
I love him.
There's so many good voices in it. But yeah, like I said about the Guild is like such a fun concept to play in the space, and I love the bureaucracy.
I love the bureaucracy.
I love
of the Guild. I love it.
I love that. We got to have like low level villains to like fill it out. Like, oh, like who? There's Brick Frog.
Brick Frog.
And I love like Phantom. Like, oh yes, Brick Frog. How could I ever forget Brick Frog?
Yeah.
What's Brick Frog? He dresses like a frog and he throws bricks and he goes Brick Frog.
Yeah.
It's a very solid concept. And I'm like, fuck. Well, that's so good.
Which gets at another thing that I think is the greatest thing that one of the greatest strengths of the show is their sheer commitment to like background bit characters with a pun name. Lady Hawk Johnson, where it's a duo of Lyndon B. Johnson and his wife.
Yeah.
She turns into a hawk at night and he turns like, that's so fucking funny.
Also, I think because they're also like big like show White Noise is maybe the funniest joke on earth. Like this. Now look, I know I may be made out of like particles going around, but this in no way stops my pure Aryan blood. And I'm like, fuck, that's such a good joke. Just made a TV static, but he's a white supremacist and his name's White Noise.
And then there's fucking it's Radical Left, and what's his other?
Oh wait, no, because he's a two-faced, but he's like political.
One side is hardcore conservative, and the other side is like a radical leftist.
Yeah.
Radical left. Yeah, okay. Radical left. Yeah, radical left is so fucking funny. Like they're
and right wing, radical left and right wing. That's the two.
It's so funny.
It's also just a good design too. Like they look fucking cool. Like it's really good fake Two-Face.
Which also, of course, brings up. You know what? I'm glad we've talked for an hour, and I finally found an answer to my question of my favorite two guys combo. The frequency with which I, in my day-to-day life, will say the following sentence. Hey, rogue bands of teenagers, and they mocked us for our trousers are not hip. Fucking Red Dragon and
Red Mantle and Dragoon.
Red Mantle and Dragoon.
So funny.
We are two heads on one body that has never been hip.
That's just so. Yeah, I'll say with the point that you made, Morgan, about the structure of the show, like the setup, the premise, and everything with the between the OSI and the Guild. The only other show I can think of off the top of my head that does something very similar would be OKKO. Obviously, it's a lot more kid-friendly because it's a kid show. Also, Brick Frog does make an appearance in OKKO.
OKKO, he does.
Yeah, but it's but that has a very similar thing where it's like, okay, you have like the villains and they're all part of like this organization, and then you have like the heroes, and then there's a big hero organization, but the characters that we're following are kind of out of step of those two things. So like, all the Bodega Men, they're not part of Point, and then all of the Boxman and Professor Venomous eventually aren't part of like the they are not in the like the big villains. They're kind of like underdogs working to just like terrorize this one group of people and screw them over. So I definitely think Venture Bros was a huge influence on that show for sure, just because Ian worked on it before, as well as probably just being a big fan of the show. So it's like somewhere between Venture Bros and regular show is kind of like where I would put that in like Dragon Ball. Yeah.
I do like, even though we were talking about the villains, I do think like even though it's rarer for the heroes to have it, like in the show across the board, because we focus a lot of villains, I will say Shore Leave is the most slam dunk gay G.I. Joe name.
Yeah.
Anyone, like if I was in a writer's room and I went gay G.I. Joe named Shore Leave, I would fucking high five myself like, fuck, I'm good. God damn it. Like, and Shore Leave goes from like, that's his joke to just being the funniest character on the show sometimes. Like,
I feel like they had like a pretty good joke when he was first introduced. The idea that he's like that he's gay, but he's like a born again Christian now. So I
was gonna do a bit where I was like, Shore Leave. I'm sorry. Oh, you mean Holy Diver?
Yeah. But like, I'm glad that they kind of walked that back. Later into like season 4. I will say, friend of the show, he's been on the show before. Cody, his favorite character is Shore Leave. So that's, I always think of him when I think of Shore Leave. So
it's another one of those things of like characters.
Not because he's gay, but because it's his favorite character.
But Cody likes Shore Leave because he's also a gay effeminate man. But like like it's like the same thing with like Dr. Gopher, when these characters like are maybe ill-aged jokes that become full characters, and the people in those communities go, "No, I'm adopting you now. Like you're just it." It's a great example of it. You did say about inspiration, and I think like I've given credit to a lot of shows for making me draw and do things. And like create. I think that if you ever needed like physical tactile feeling of anything I've ever created and you've enjoyed it, you will see Venture Bros in it. When I first started drawing, like seriously, like a few years ago, I got the like comic books where they had like all of the character Bibles and like animation guides and stuff. I was looking at that because I think the Venture Bros art style is like a perfect place between cartoony and like vaguely pseudo getting closer to realistic, but not really, you know? Also, like, if you like listen to me like on actual plays that are superhero based, I'm playing more serious characters in Venture Bros, but also I love taking the like Venture Bros ideal of villainy into stuff like the DC universe and other stuff, because it's real. There's real bones there. Like there's a reason why like they take the reason Joker won't kill Batman and turns it into like paperwork that he had to sign. And I think that's such a great thought process to go into villains and like how to write villains. I think Venture Bros is a really good show for you to like make your villain a well-rounded character. Like, yeah, your villain wants to blow up the world, but also, I don't know, maybe he's going through his 3rd divorce and it's a little hard on him. And like
yeah.
It's such a good show to make you want to create and think about that kind of stuff and like how you want to go about writing comedy and serious stuff and relationships. This show made me, when I make characters, I'm like, I need them to have a few messy relationships.
Yeah.
Because this show is so like the final thing they think about in the show is like, here's a watch. That's a complication. Complications are what make things matter, and like that's like a great thing to go into a writer's room with. And like it doesn't have to be like the main plot, but if your character has complications with other characters they love and care about, you're adding some real good juice there. Like
yeah, you kind of need like a baseline understanding of like why these characters need each other in some way, but also to dig into like why they're really bad for each other. Which doesn't necessarily mean you should like only lean towards negative or positive, just that you can explore both and like, okay, what are the good things that this person brings out of this other person and why they continue to like be around them despite, like this misery. And obviously maybe that's a little bit darker, melodramatic or whatever for like Venture Bros, but I feel like that it's just very true, like we were talking about with like Rusty and his children, where at first it is just kind of a simple joke of like, haha, wouldn't it be funny if the scientist character was like an amoral guy who didn't really care about putting his children in danger, and then like season 2 we learn that they're clones, so it's who even cares if they die. But as the show goes on, like you kind of you start to get why he feels the way that he does, and why like his children feel the need to like look up to him or to like try to get him to be proud of them. I do like that by the end of the show, like those characters have like grown and changed so much that like Hank and Dean, like they don't even like look like the same characters anymore.
No,
you know, like they've grown,
yeah.
they've changed outfits, hairstyles, things like that. That is like real tangible growth, and I just appreciate it so much. I do feel sad that the show ended where it did, because I did feel like the change of location to New York was like a great move. You know, I think we spent enough time in like the classic like venture bunker setting, and it was cool to see it like move away from that and try to tell some new stories. And I liked all the like stupid Avengers characters that showed up and everything. And then of course, like we mentioned, the Blue Morpho stuff in season 6 is just like one of my favorite plot lines in the whole show. You know, maybe my number one favorite. But yeah, I don't know. This show is just so emblematic of like true artist passion, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's yeah. Go ahead.
You were gonna say, Jeff?
Oh, I was gonna say, it really is. I was just gonna say, going back, I had a thing going back to your point about like their approach to villains, but finish your thought first.
Sure. Well, I was just gonna say that, like, yeah, the way that this show, I was kind of wrapping up, but the way that this show, like like the way it exists on like a meta level, there's no fucking way anybody who didn't care about what they were creating would tolerate this release schedule and just like constantly being jerked around by the network. And you know, all this stuff. They fought tooth and nail to constantly release new episodes of this show, and that is just so much more admirable to me than something like, and this is not me necessarily saying this is a bad show, but like Rick and Morty, where that was given like 100 episodes to be like, all right, here you go, you're renewed for like 100 episodes, separate them into like 10 seasons or whatever. That was like, okay, you're given your blank check, boom, you get to do whatever you want for, you know, the next like decade of your life. Whereas this was like, we have no idea if we're going to be renewed for another season. We're just like going for it. And every single time it's like, yeah, you can keep going. And it's like,
do it like it's tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. The Adult Swim and, you know, William Street and all the like different production companies and arms of, you know, Warner were all like somehow able to get this pushed through to the point where it came to like a satisfying conclusion, and it's just kind of beautiful to think that was able to happen. But Jeff, say what you're gonna say
about villains.
Yeah, the thing, going back to your point about like how they write villains, a thing that like is lodged in my brain that like informs my writing in superhero work so much, that like is a sentence of all time, and it truly, like, similar to you, whenever I'm doing a podcast or an actual play about superhero stuff, or I'm talking about superheroes, or I'm imagining superheroes, I think about Sheila just screaming at the top of her lung, "We're bad guys! We're professional bad guys!" Like, it is the perfect equivalent of the Spider-Man Sauron, why aren't you curing cancer? Why are you turning people into dinosaurs? Because I want to turn people into like they create this sense of like, there are so many characters in like, particularly among their villains, that are like, yeah, I could be doing X, I could be doing any number of things. I want to be dressing like a truck that is also Hercules. Like, I want to be doing this. This is the thing that I want to be. And like, I think that I love how much how much lore they build into like who the guild are and what draws people to the guild, but then they also allow space for just, I want to do evil shit. I like evil shit. Also,
and I can get paid, and I can get dental.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead.
But also, I would be remiss if I did not shout out a character of all time that is both like going beyond the bit to also just a character that lives rent free in my head, Shout out to Scott Hall. Shout out to Henchman 1. Shout out to Zero, Henchman 0, who henches, I hench for no man. Shout out to the one like actually competent character that shows up among the Monarch's henchmen, and then every single character goes, "Oh, you're gonna die. Oh, you're dead."
Yeah.
And then that becomes his entire personality of, I was actually competent, and you fucking dipshits should not have survived.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Yeah.
I think like there's two like times like, and one is the end of the series. I think when Hank runs into Latour, like the Craven stand-in, and like him and Hank are like this. Oh, you like my Batman towel? Yes, Batman's so cool. Wait, you're a supervillain? Yes, because Batman have all the coolest supervillains. I always wanted to be one of those guys. And I'm like, that's it. That's like the guild's motivation. So many guys are just like, yeah, dude, this seems cool. I can like,
Yeah, it's cool.
you know, my mom used to always say, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Maybe that's blowing up buildings and being dressed as like a frog with a brick. Maybe that's it. But also, I think the show. Go to say what?
I was gonna say philosophically, not to get too philosophical about this, but like that just feels so real that there's so many people willing. Like, if this world has a system set in place where you can perform villainy, I think tons of people would do it without being like evil, you know, without like being like cruel or like overly destructive or whatever. They just are like, you know, getting out these like dark urges or getting out these destructive ideas and things like that in a way, in a performative sort of way, rather in a controlled environment, rather than in a like actual like, I'm gonna like destroy this city block or kill all these people and do whatever. Like, it feels, I don't know, there's something about that rings true to me, like that would just be a thing that people would engage with.
Yeah, like I think Think Tank from the New York seasons is a great example of that. He's just like a teacher, and then he's like, also my gimmick is I'm super smart and I'm also in a tank. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. It's sure that before I get to my last point, that does bring me the funniest Brock moment where Think Tank has it on his chest and Brock goes, I could dodge this. No, you can't. It's point blank. I bet I could. That's a funny Brock moment, but I think the show ending with like Arch and like Mantilla being the last villain, air quotes, is such a great example of like, they have like this fucking startup super villain bullshit. That's like the last villain of the show, but like it's not even like real, you know? Because like there is no real passion there. She also just wants to do the work. It's funny that we find out that like she's the one who like, you know, donated her eggs to give birth to Hank and Dean, because she has a lot of Hank in her when you like really look at like how she behaves and like her weird like, no, I just want to do this. I just want to do all this cool stuff. It's such a good way to take the show out because like it's so not anticlimactic.
She really does have a lot of Hank.
It was it's not important that she's their mom, you know? It's not important because she's not their mom, you know? She just donated eggs. Rusty's their mom and dad. I don't know if that's like a good thing for your life, but like it's such a fun way to wrap the show. Like, there's all this like the movie Baboon Heart is like such a great showing of the entire series because you have like all this fun guild stuff and hench stuff, but also at the end it's about the fact of like, hey, these are your family members. Like, it doesn't matter who gave birth to whose blood is what. The Monarch, 21, Brock, your dad, you know, Dean, Hank, these are your family members.
J.K. Simmons, who is here for some reason.
I love J.K. Simmons. Just like, yeah.
Ben.
Also, the name of the movie is such a good joke to end it on. Radiant is the blood of the Baboon Heart, and we get to the end and just like, he's just a clone of Rusty with like 2% baboon to stop the male pattern baldness. He says, I told him not to put the baboon in there. It'll make him too aggressive. But he never listened to me, did he?
Well, yeah. I think, is there any other, last thoughts that we have before wrapping this up? Jeff, how about you?
Yeah, anything you got to do?
Just that I want to share my funniest Brock moment. is that they spent
Go ahead,
they
please.
spent 7 entire they spent 7 seasons letting him be cool and excellent, and then he says Paschetti.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yo, what's a Paschetti? What did you?
It's all tangled up like Paschetti. Did you say Paschetti?
The sketty. there is something great about like. There's so many jokes that like they like move away from or they don't do anymore because like it doesn't fit the character anymore. I'm glad in like the last 2 seasons of this we gotta fit one more Brock fighting a bunch of henchmen and being like there. I look like that's like, hey, you guy up there that needs to reload that has a beat on my head and just shoots goes, oh damn it, yeah I can count. And it's just such a good joke. Whenever Brock is fighting henchmen, it's always so fun. Also, him like grabbing the guy's balls, like, yeah, tell me.
Oh God!
What?
Oh no!
What's wrong?
Oh, you got
Yeah.
Oh God! I feel a lump. Oh,
jeez!
wow. There's not even like the first nor last time Brock is involved with a henchman who is dying in some way. I love what he said like this, like, I'm getting cold. It's like, no, dude, I think you nicked something. Can you sing me a song? What?
But
It's such a good show.
That's it. I just
Such
love
a
this
good
show with all my heart.
yeah. It's just good to talk about and to quote and to, think about and everything. I do. Do you think? Actually, never mind. I was gonna say, do you think that there's gonna be another season at some point in the future? Considering how bad of a place Cartoon Network is in right now, maybe not. Adult Swim is doing slightly better than.
Yeah.
Like Adult Swim is keeping Cartoon Network alive, basically.
I think the hope of Venture Bros is that there will always maybe be more. Always maybe is like the great way to put it. So like, I don't know if I feel if it'll be more, yes or no, but like if there is, there is. And I think I will enjoy it and I will watch it. I don't know if I need it, but also like they love it. If they love it and they want to make it and someone wants to let them make it, I will always be there to watch it. It's funny. I think it like lives in this weird Schrodinger's favorite show where like it could exist and it could not exist. And I think I'm okay either way if more happens or not.
Yeah. I'm not like too broken up if they don't ever make any more, but I'll gladly see it if they do make more. And I feel like there's a lot of shows that I kind of feel that same way with, where I don't necessarily need more, but if they're game, then I'm game. And there's plenty of shows where I'm just like, we can just move on. It's fine. Like a lot of things where people are like, oh, this got canceled too early. We need another season of it. I'm just like, no, it's okay. We don't need to drag this out.
Wait, there was one last thing that's very fucking weird to me, and I thought about it when I was watching The Penguin on HBO. Kristen plays, like, she's in The Penguin show. I don't know if anyone has seen The Penguin. It's really good. She's Sophia Falcone in that, right?
Yep.
And also she played the hot daughter of a Batman-esque villain mobster in Venture Bros.
Oh,
First.
I forgot that she was. I forgot she was Wide Whale's daughter.
Serena.
Yeah,
she's Serena. So it's funny that she played a parody of the type of character she now plays in the Batman universe later on, and I find that really fucking funny. That's it.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that.
I guess that's one of those things where like I wish that they gave her a better wrap up to her character. She really got nothing in the movie, and it feels like they were doing something cool with her in season 7, and then it just kind of it just like season 8. I understand that they wanted to focus more on like the aftermath of the stuff between Hank and Dean, and as well as like wrapping up the cliffhanger of Rusty and Monarch being related and everything. But like like I said, it's never great with female characters. There's always there's always gonna be its biggest weakness, but there's rare few times where it is like, they did a pretty good job with this character. And of course, Dr. Girlfriend is, really good. So
I do really
she's
love
so
her
good that it
conversation.
like backwards makes you be like, those first 2 seasons where they were making a lot of mean jokes towards her. Like, I can forgive that because her character eventually develops away from that and
Yeah.
like stand strong on our own. But enough
Thank
soapboxing. Yeah, I think that we're done with this.
Thank you so
episode,
much,
Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah, of course.
By the way.
Thank you. This
It
was a
so
pleasure.
nice to talk to you about.
This was a
Adventure
pleasure.
Bros. Yeah.
Why don't you plug yourself and tell everybody where they can find you?
Of course. You can. I am a maker of many things. I'm always busy on the internet. You can find all of my work at jeffstormer.com. Primarily, you can find me on a podcast called Party of One, which is an actual play podcast about getting to know interesting people through the shared universal act of play. You can find that at partyofonepodcast.com, or you can follow me on social media where I post too much about too many things at jeffstormer.gobirds.online.
Hell yeah. All right, how about you, Morgan? What's your bit for this week?
Oh, what is my bit? So, you can find me on Tumblr at Girl Next Door. I post about mostly Vampire the Masquerade, if I'm being honest. Also, Werewolf the Apocalypse. I'm in one of those videos too, so I'm posting that art
Which is
too.
a different thing.
Yeah, why? It's all part of the get
Okay.
woke, dude. Fucking read a fucking tabletop RPG book. You've known me for so long. I'm gonna start smacking you with them. But yeah, I post about Werewolf the Apocalypse and also Vampire the Masquerade. You can also find me at Blue Sky, which is still Girl Next Door. You can find me there talking too fucking much, and now that Jeff mentioned it, patiently waiting for the football season to start so I can be weird again.
Yeah, that's
Let's
right.
go. Go Birds.
Go Birds. Back
But
to
yeah,
back.
you gotta find me on Blue Sky. You gotta find me on Blue Sky very quickly, because if you don't, all of the little digital assistants everyone has in their house is going to float up and make everyone's houses go into the atmosphere, and it's going to cause Blue Sky to come crash into the ground and destroy it. So you gotta get on it quick and follow me over there. Wyatt, where can we find you?
Twitter and Blue Sky at Wasp Ranger, WAZP Ranger. It's mostly stream of consciousness stuff, but I do post about podcasts I'm in and videos I'm doing. I have 2 channels. I should shout out the other one because I barely do on this. I have the main channel, which is, if you're listening to this on that, it's only magic. All of Cartoon Buffoons goes on there. All my cartoon videos go on there. If you are a freak like me and are interested in Metroid, I made a second channel that's just Metroid videos because I didn't want to clog up my main channel with my psychotic ramblings about the series. So that's Planet Zebez. Go there, check it out. I had a video that just hit the algorithm on that channel semi recently, like a month ago, I guess, at the point of this being released. And on my cartoon channel, I did a video on Stugo. That was my last big one. That was like an hour long. Check that out. And if you want to support this show, go on to the Patreon. Also, It's Only Magic. For $3, you get the episode a week early. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, you can get that Joe Pera episode right now for $3. If you only got $1, though, that's fine. You still get Wow Cool Robot, which is me and my friend Wayne going through every single robot in existence and reviewing them. It's a good time. So, all right, thank you once again, Jeff, for coming on and talking about Venture Bros.
You.
Truly one of the best shows ever made. Next time, we're going to talk about another one of the best shows ever made with Joe Pera Talks With You.
Totally
See
different
you
vibe,
there.
but I'm very excited. See you later.
Mm.
Okay, I'm going to hit stop.
All right, stop.